Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Trap, a Bears podcast by a Bears fan. I'm your host, Terry, and today, doing a recap of the Week 1 matchup versus the Green Bay Packers. Now, I'm going to go ahead. I'm already ready for the downvotes and all the dislike because, frankly, when the Bears lose, people will just downvote me because I'm talking about it, which is ridiculous. But I'm going to have some news for you or some thoughts that aren't popular. And that's fine. As I've always said, I could be a Bears fan and also be realistic. So let's talk about it. There's so much to go through. I'm going to just kind of go with my main thoughts. And number one, overall, I would say, and I hate to say it, I think Mitch Trubisky is regressing. Now, here's what I mean by that. Don't just go quote me without the context. I don't think that he doesn't have skill set, but here's what I think happened. I think Mitch Trubisky is a tryhard, and he was a tryhard in college. He was a tryhard in the NFL. He wants to do every single thing to be the guy. And so rookie year, we saw that, and the structure was not there. It was bad. Second year was full commitment. Matt Nagy and his offense. Let's see what I can do. Then we got Khalil Mack, and the defense ascended to a new level. And it was like, well, okay, our offense wasn't as great as I thought it would be when we were on the field. But even when we weren't on the field, the defense was amazing. So I don't necessarily have to be the guy. Not saying that he's Trent Dilfer, but I think, like we all realize, the offense needs to be good enough. And when you have that mentality, you don't push yourself. You don't push the progress as far as it could be. Not to saying that he wasn't trying to progress. Not to saying that he wasn't working hard. But my guess is that you understand. Like none of us sitting at home see something that players don't see for the most part. They read the tea leaves. They know, look, we got an amazing defense. I don't have to be Pat Mahomes for us to win. And so when I watch him play, I see him being risk averse. I see him, hesitating on certain throws. I see him, and there's a whole thing with the play calling. Look, there's usually going to be some type of multiple level on every pass play. You're going to have something that's vertical. You're going to have something in the flat. You're going to have something that hits the seam, whatever. And so to act like we're just running 3-yard hitch routes every play is not true. So I hear people say the play calling is holding him back. Same thing they say with Baker Mayfield. And then it's just like Nagy doesn't trust Trubisky. Look, you can call all vertical concepts. You can call all short concepts. But I don't think we do either. I think we have a mix of both and attacking all the areas. And so it comes down to what Trubisky chooses to throw. And it's not to say that he can't read defense. I think he can. But I don't think he's confident. And not even confident. I think he doesn't want to ever become overconfident. I think he's like, I know where my bread is buttered with this team. And instead of making a mistake, I'm going to play it safe. And so he's playing not to make a mistake rather than to make a play. And so somebody's making fun online. They were like, oh, I hope I see a Cutler type end zone throw at the end of the half. And I'm like, honestly, Trubisky could use a lot more Cutler right now. And we saw that where he's just not willing to take risk. And he's going to run because he's comfortable with that. He's going to check down because he's comfortable with that. And so I don't think it's regression as in he sucks or doesn't have skill. I think mentally he just said, okay, this is where I'm at as a quarterback, and I'm going to let the defense do their job. So that's kind of how I feel looking at the offense. I don't know. I didn't catch the full first quarter. I was racing back from Chicago. And so I got there with about 3 minutes, but I was listening to the radio. But from what I saw most of the game, it seems like we aren't as stout inside in the run game. but I feel like our pass protection is a little better. So, and that's just kind of what you got with James Daniels, who's solid, but a little more finesse than Cody Whitehair was. And so, again, every front is going to be different, but when you got a guy like Kenny Clark and the rest of these guys, it was kind of noticeable. And it's not that we try to overly run, but yeah, that was a small thing I took away. I think we're too cute on defense and offense, to be honest with you. Offensively, look, it's the same thing as last year. A lot of motion, a lot of last-second shifts, a lot of funky formations. Here's my thing, and I meant to say this up top. Would you rather have a quarterback injured in the preseason game where they might miss a few weeks, or have your quarterback never play in the preseason and then come out and commit penalty after penalty and the offense is just not moving? That's the question. I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer. I'm saying that's the question you got to ask, because this whole trend, and these two teams in particular, Packers and Bears, we're not going to play our starters or whatever. And so to think that practice is the same as a game is silly. You practice hard, super hard, so the game is easy. But if you're just, regular practicing and think you're going to walk into a game and live bullets are going to be the same, no. Because I guarantee you, even if it's Mitch Trubisky versus the first team defense, here's what you're going to hear. Stay off my quarterback. Stay off the quarterback. Don't touch him. And so when you have a environment like that, which I understand, but when you have an environment like that and that's the only thing you had leading up to live bullets, it's not going to be great. And so you get into a live bullet situation, the offense just was not well-oiled as it was. But my point to us being too cute, look at who we used. We used everybody. Like I kind of mentioned before, like the depth chart starter thing doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot with Matt Nagy. And it didn't. We saw Javon Wims. We saw Davis and Montgomery almost rotational. We saw Tariq Cohen. We saw Cordell Patterson. We saw Shaheen. We saw so many people. And again, I like that our core is diverse, but there's just no chemistry. Even with some of the forced passes to Allen Robinson, I just don't feel chemistry. And so the thing is, if you're going to go into a game with whatever, if it's a package or single substitution or rotation, whatever it is, if you're going to go into a game like that, that means you practice it. And the more you practice with a second group, the less time you practice with the first group. And so, again, I don't want to generalize it, but that's just kind of what I'm seeing. It's like we're really cute, as in we're rotating in a lot of people frequently. It's not Cordell Patterson sometimes. It's not Tariq Cohen sometimes. It's like a heavy rotation. And defensively is worse. I mean, not to say that it's bad, but we saw Isaiah Irvin. We saw Aaron Lynch. There's times when Akeem Hicks wasn't on the field when it was a big play. And you had Bilal Nichols instead and Nick Williams. We saw Nick Williams. And it's not that we can't see those people. It's just the frequency of our rotation was shocking. And I don't know if Clinton Dix was hurt or something, but Deion Bush was in earlier when Jimmy Graham got the touchdown. He was in a few plays before that as well. And so it's just, I saw so much rotation that I didn't see continuity. And that is important. And I think our defense got, pretty, jailed. But even still, there's a lot of rotation that I didn't expect. And so I just think sometimes being too cute with the whole, you never know who it's going to be. And let's stay fresh. Sometimes knowing who it's going to be is a perk. And I know I say a lot about our receiving core, no main person, which I do like. But sometimes it is a perk to be a little predictable. Not to say that, we know what you're going to do, but we think we know what you're going to do, and then you can counter, because that's what the chess match of football is. But, I don't know. For us, I think we were just being a little too cute. So, anyway, that's kind of what I think about that. Yeah, there's so many thoughts. I mean, Adrian Amos, the Packers defense. Look, I'm going to say this. As much as Bears fans want to hate on the Packers and all that good stuff, I'll say this. I said Preston Smith was one of my favorites. The Darius Smith, interesting pickup. You already had Jair Alexander, who showed he could be a number one corner. Then you had Adrian Amos. Savage is one of the better prospects at safety. Their defense is not sucky. It's not a joke. It's not anything to play with. Kenny Clark, of course, already there. It's going to be a battle. Tonight was a battle. And again, it wasn't a blowout or anything, but it was a battle. And so I would urge our Bears fans to not fall into the meathead category of just talking trash. The Packers suck. They all suck. No, they don't all suck. And they got competition, and we're going to have to face that. We're not all world. I mean, as good as we are, as talented as we are, we're not all world. And so I'm watching our defense, and I think we're as good as we were last year. Buster Screen looked pretty good. Scrying, whatever. He moved very well. I don't know if he's as tough as Callahan, but I like the way he moved. Clint Dix adds a dimension. And you know what? As I talked about Pagano and his defense and a lot of shifting before the play, you saw a lot of that. And I now understand why they went for Clint Dix instead of Amos, because he just fits more the flexibility that Pagano wants to do. Like, at the end of the day, you might not feel like we did a lot coverage-wise, but me watching it schematically, I'm like, we showed a lot of weird looks, a lot of different looks, a lot of bails. And so, again, you don't know if it's going to be Clint Dix over the middle or if it's going to be Eddie Jackson over the middle. And we use that to our advantage tonight. And so I understand more now why they got Clint Dix. But, you know, at the end of the day, I think we still got to kind of see how they all mesh out. But, yeah, there's so much to talk about, man. I mean, you got Dave Montgomery. You got James Daniels, who I kind of mentioned earlier. There's so much to talk about that I'm not going to try to, go too long and talk about every single thing because, we lost tonight and there's a lot of people upset. And at the end of the day, people are going to look at the offense and be like, what's going on? So Matt Nagy, Coach of the Year. Some people going to question play calling. Mitch Trubisky, some people are going to be calling him a bust tomorrow. And so it's going to be all those different things. What I will say, I think that's pretty factual, is that we're going to be limited by Trubisky, or we're going to be limited by what Trubisky produces. And I talked about before my predictions, him as the MVP and all that good stuff, but we're going to be limited by what he produces as a quarterback. And that's just what it is. And, yeah, Khalil Mack, he's human. I mean, it's tough because people don't want to hear it, but there has been overrating. I tell Bears fans, they being meatheads about it like any given Sunday. Talent up the butt. You can have talent. Doesn't mean that you just win because of paper. You got to show up, and there's going to be a lot of times where things don't go your way. And, we just didn't feel Khalil Mack's presence tonight. And so it's like, whoa, what are the Packers doing to him? And I wouldn't even say we were doing anything special because we definitely weren't doing anything, or they weren't doing anything special, and they weren't doing anything special against Floyd. And so I just, I don't see a reason to try to blame anybody. We just didn't get it done tonight. And so, but there's a lot of optimism, a lot of good stuff ahead of us. So I'm excited. But anyway, go down in the comment section. Let me know what you think about week 1 versus the Packers. I know everybody's upset, but share it around, get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and remember, stay up and bear down.